Hey everyone, it's the Cinema Dude, and welcome back to my channel. And today's video takes us back into the movie room, where we will be looking at a new little kind of video series I'm going to do, Director Spotlight. So I have done some label spotlights, so now I want to jump into some directors. And first and foremost, we're going to start off with probably my favorite director. It's up. I have the most of his. Well, actually, that's not true. He's probably second, because actually I have a lot of Hitchcock. I have most of Hitchcock's films. So he would be the second most I have, but he is my favorite director. And we're looking today at Martin Scorsese. And so I'm just going to go through a whole bunch of releases that I have of his. Talk to you about some of them. Discuss ones that are just on just DVD, or what I like about the release or whatnot. And then any that I have maybe that aren't part of the collection. So first and foremost, we're going to start with the Scorsese shorts. And I showed this earlier this year in my Criterion video. Oh, well, technically it was last year. But this came out in July of last year. And it includes Italian American from 1974, American Boy from 1978, The Big Shave from 1967, It's Not Just You, Murray from 1964, and What's a Nice Girl Like You Doing in This Place in 1963. So the last three are some of his early short films, and then the last two are kind of his, I would say, longer documentary kind of stuff. Italian American definitely is. It's kind of just conversation with him and his parents. And that's the one I like the most. You get kind of what his life was like around that time, which is kind of cool. And being of Italian descent, it's kind of cool to see other people's perspectives and kind of like their life stories as well. So this one, there's a 4K digital restoration of all 5 films. New conversations between Scorsese and film critic Farn Smith Nemay. New discussion among filmmakers Ari Aster and Josh and Benny Sadafi. There is public radio interviews from 1970 with Scorsese, and then a booklet as well. So a really cool release. This I would definitely say would be for those who have kind of already taken a dive into Scorsese's films, and want to kind of see where he started and some of his shorts. This is where I would go. Next we go with not one of his first films, not like Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore, however, but kind of one of his first seminal films. We do have Mean Streets and stuff like that as well, but we're going to first start with Taxi Driver. And this is from 76, I want to say. And so this one is the 40th anniversary edition. So you can pick up this edition. This is a really nice edition. This one comes with all new, it's from this 40-minute Taxi Driver Q&A. They have Scorsese, Robert De Niro, Jodie Foster. Original 1986 commentary with Paul Schrader and Martin Scorsese. Recorded by the Criterion Collection. So that was what was on the Criterion Laserdisc, which is kind of cool. Commentaries with Paul Schrader and Professor Robert Kohler. Martin Scorsese on Taxi Driver, producing Taxi Driver, God's Lonely Man, Taxi Driver Stories, Travis's New York locations, theatrical trailer, and then disc 2 has the making of Taxi Driver, storyboard to film comparisons with Martin Scorsese, and then animated film or photo galleries. So, what is there to say about Taxi Driver that hasn't been said? Just kind of one of his first films that shows kind of that the look at mental illness kind of, and what it can kind of go do to people, which kind of gets brought through some of his other films as well. But this is just a great film and a great release too. So if you haven't seen Taxi Driver, or you have, this is definitely the release to pick up. Next we'll go into the we go to 19, I believe this is 78. Yep, 78. And this is one of his first documentaries he did. And this is, documentary is based on musicians. So he's done ones on George Harrison, which I have, but it's like in a CD case. Along with that, also to Raging Bull, I have, it's in a CD, just the disc. So there's really nothing to, it's just a generic release on those two. And the one is Delivering a Material World, George Harrison one. So those ones are awesome. Raging Bull is another classic of his. Really brought Joe Pesci to stardom. But unfortunately, I don't have like the covers of those, so we'll skip those for right now. So this is The Last Waltz. This is the rock film based on the last concert of the band. And so it was a farewell performance from 76, and it's directed by him. And on here has 2 audio commentaries by Martin Scorsese and the musicians, rare unseen footage, and behind the scenes featurettes. So just kind of starting to show his love of music, and it's a really good concert film. Even now, 40-some years out. And also, it has other people in this too. It has Bob Dylan, Clapton, Joni Mitchell, Van Morrison, Neil Diamond. So it kind of has all these kind of really cool musicians in it. So definitely check this out. This one, there's this release. There is a Blu-ray release of this. But this is something I would like to see Criterion or one of the other group companies pick this up and do a really awesome, I think, mastering in 4K and doing a nice concert film Blu-ray would be really cool, that one. So next we'll go to probably one of my recently favorite Scorsese films. Just because it's a black comedy, but it's kind of his first thing in comedy. And his next film kind of hits this too, but I just think this one is really good and it kind of still is relevant today, and that is The King of Comedy with Robert De Niro and Jerry Lewis. And this is where Rupert Pupkin comes in, and what it is desperate to be a star, a struggling stand-up comedian, Rupert Pupkin, enlists the aids of his fanatical friend Misha to kidnap talk show host Jerry Langford. The ransom, a guest spot for Pumpkin. The results, outrageous. So it really goes into kind of our look at celebrities, and even today, of how we put these people on a pedestal and how we want to be like them, and how they may not be like what we see, on television and stuff, and kind of the obsessive culture. This is a really good movie. There's some really funny bits in it. I love the beginning where he has like a fake set in his room, basement, wherever part of the house it is, and he starts like doing like he would be on the show, and his mom starts like yelling at him like, turn it down. I just think it's kind of funny because you're like seeing this guy that's going like super obsessive on something, and kind of like the outside world, and he's getting mad at her and stuff. But a really, really good film, and a lot of this influence actually Joker, to the point where like they had Robert De Niro in it, and he's really playing the Jerry Langford character. But definitely check out King of Comedy. Next one is another comedy film by him, and people love this film. Again, it's him going into more comedic side of stuff. And this is one that Criterion has said that they have this. And keep waiting for a release of it, but there hasn't been one yet. And that is After Hours. And this is his one night type of movie where, you know, something starts, and I'm trying to think of a good one night movie. Into the Night is one. I would even say like Clue is one, where it kind of just happens over the span of one night. Griffin Dunn plays the main character in this, and he just tries to get home, and along the way he meets interesting characters, goes into interesting situations, and it's a really awesome movie. So on here it has commentary by Griffin Dunn, Martin Scorsese, producer Amy Robson, and then editor Thelma Shoemaker, a making of documentary, filming for your life, making of after hours, and deleted scenes. So like I said, this one is only on DVD as of this moment. So I don't know. And like I said, Criterion said they were going to put this out, but so far nothing has come of it yet. So I don't know if it's rights issues or whatnot, but definitely check After Hours out. Next is a film that is a sequel, per se. And probably, I would say, one of my favorite sports movies. So he goes back into both sequel territory, which is something kind of different, and that is The Color of Money. And how it's a sequel is that Paul Newman plays Fast Eddie, who he's reprising from The Hustler. So this is like a sort of sequel down the line. This has Tom Cruise in it as well. And so it says, as Fast Eddie still believes that money won is twice as sweet as money earned. To prove the point, he forms a profitable yet vital partnership with Vince, played by Tom Cruise, a young pool hustler with a sexy, tough-talking girlfriend. But when Vince's flashy arrogance leads to more than a few lost masters, all bets are off between Eddie and him. The Color of Money will electrify you with its suspenseful story, dazzling cinematography, and dynamic performances. So, this is, I believe this one won him the Academy Award, Paul Newman, for this one. But just kind of a really cool movie. Really cool that Scorsese went back and used. He could have just made the character a different character, but he decided, you know what, I want Paul Newman in this, play the same character. This one is just a basic release. I think there's a Blu-ray of this. I know there's other releases of the DVD and stuff, but that is The Color of Money. Now we get into, we're hitting, the late 80s, and this is when I think, at least to me, my favorite Scorsese era hits. And we start off with my favorite movie. This is in the top 5 for me. This is my favorite crime film. This is my favorite Scorsese film. And it is Goodfellas. This is just a generic release of this. They have a nice, I'll say it's a 25th anniversary one that has a lot of stuff to it. But this, if you had to pick one movie to say, let's watch a Scorsese film, it's this. I just think this, he didn't win the best picture for this one, but this one is his best picture. You have awesome performance by Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Paul Sorvino. You have, I mean, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just such a perfect movie. The music is amazing. His use of music in Goodfellas, Scorsese's use of it, is fantastic. Just the editing, the storyline through, and and this, Casino, and then The Irishman make a fantastic trilogy of just gangster films. And you could say, well, you could put Mean Streets in there. You can, but I feel like this is like, this is almost the, I want to say, like, the romance to the crime films. Casino would be his, like, what happens when everything goes bad, and then The Irishman is a nice concluding where the effects of everything. So, but like I said, Goodfellas, what else can I say but an awesome film. Then he comes back after Goodfellas and actually teams back up with Robert De Niro in another remake. And this one is a remake of Cape Fear, which I forgot who did the original Cape Fear. But in it, he plays, it says, 14 years after being in prison, vicious psychopath Max Cady, Robert De Niro, engages with a single mission: to seek revenge on his attorney, Sam Bowen, Nick Nolte. Cady becomes a terrifying presence as he menacingly circles Bowen's increasingly unstable family. Realizing he is legally powerless to protect his beautiful wife, Jessica Lange, and his troubled teenage daughter, Danielle, Sam resorts to unethical measures, which leads to an unforgivable showdown on Cape Fear. And what's cool about this one, too, is that both Gregory Peck and Robert Meacham, who were in the original, are in here in pretty, I would say, not decent roles, but they're part of it. It's not like it's just like, oh, there they are on screen or whatever. So it's kind of cool that they're he went back and saw that kind of history and stuff. But this, I think, is his most terrifying film. The way De Niro plays Max Cady is insane. He's just this presence, and you're watching this, and I've watched this multiple times, and every time you're like, oh, what's gonna happen? Is something bad gonna happen here? Because you just feel him in the scenes, and you're like, man, something bad's gonna happen, something bad, and then you're like, okay, nothing has, and then the next thing, ooh, something bad's gonna happen, and then when it does happen, you're like, oh shit, definitely check out Cape Fear. And this one has the making of Cape Fear, deleted scenes, behind the scenes, of the 4th of July parade, on the set of the houseboat, photograph montage, matte paintings, opening credits. So that is this release. This release also does have a Blu-ray, but this is a nice DVD if you want to get that. Next, we go into another cool documentary. And this one I think is only on, I want to say only on DVD. I wish this would be updated because I think it would be really cool. And that is a personal journey with Martin Scorsese through American movies. So this is kind of his looking at the American film genre and going through. So how it is, it's different kind of segments. So Director's Dilemma, mastering the creative process. Then we have the director as a storyteller, the Western, the gangster film, and the musical. The director as an illusionist, controlling and mastering the technical process. So that one talks about silent to sound, black and white to Technicolor, from standard size to like cinescope and stuff. So that's a really cool one on here. The director as smuggler, the metaphor behind vision. The director as an iconoclast, exerting personal expression. So I don't know, I haven't checked this one out in a while, if there is, if there's any other special features in this one. I think there is. But yeah, this is definitely a really, really cool release. He is, if you know, he works with the World Cinema Project and restoring films, and he is a big component on film preservation and the history of films. And this is just another one that this kind of shows that. And so if you want to know like where he comes from, definitely check stuff out on YouTube. There's a lot of him talking about restorations and such. But this is a really cool release to have. Next, we're going to go with his 1995 gangster film, Casino. And this is just, again, a generic release. This is on Blu-ray and whatnot. And that is how you take the mob. They came to Vegas. They made an empire, and then the toppling of an empire. He plays Sam Rothstein, and De Niro does. And again, another one. I like Casino, but it's not. If I had to choose, it'd be the third of what I call the trilogy of crime films, and I might even put Mean Streets above it. I don't know what it is. It's good. I will have to say it's one of his best films, but for some reason it's just something about it that I just don't like more. I don't know if it's just like the different subplots, but it's very good though. I don't want to take that away from the movie. Not my favorite of his gangster films. This one has Casino the Story, go behind the scenes for a fascinating exploration of the script, the book, and how director Martin Scorsese collaborated with writer Nicholas Pagelli to bring the story and characters to life, deleted scenes, and moments with Martin Scorsese, Sharon Stone, and more. So that is Casino. Next, we have another film that is not on... I don't believe it's on Blu-ray. It's just DVD. And that is Bringing Out the Dead with Nicolas Cage. And this is the film where Cage stars as Frank Pierce, a paramedic on the brink of madness from too many years of saving and losing lives. One fateful night, Frank meets Mary Burke, the daughter of a man Frank tried to save. Together, Frank and Mary confront the ghosts of the past and discover that redemption can be found among the living. Co-starring John Goodman, Ving Rhames, and Tom Sizemore. This is a really good film. Cage kind of reins it in a little bit in this one, but there is still portions. John Goodman in the scenes that he is really good and kind of funny. But this is kind of a love and loss. And this one is another one that goes into faith and, trying to save people and stuff. And it's really, really good film. This one I do wish was more widely seen. I feel like this is one that kind of everybody forgets because upcoming, it's kind of his more recent stuff. And I feel like this one gets kind of pushed between that early 90s stuff and then what he's doing now. So, but definitely check out Bring Out the Dead. Again, I believe it's just DVD. So, it's this one and there's another more recent one of this. But this is kind of the one that has the cover that was the movie poster. Next, we go to his American Epic. And in Gangs of New York with Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Day-Lewis, and Cameron Diaz. And this has, you have Daniel Day-Lewis as Billy the Butcher. You have, DiCaprio as Amsterdam. And again, this is his look at kind of mob mentality, but now just at the turn of the century. This did get him a nomination for Golden Globe for Best Director. And this was his first with Leonardo DiCaprio, which is, you could see, upcoming is someone that he would be frequently collaborating with. So this is kind of a cool set. This has, see if I can get it. Has a whole bunch of special features. Some featurettes about the 5 points, design on the set and stuff. So there's a History Channel special uncovering the gangs of New York, and then feature commentary by Scorsese. So this is kind of an old blockbuster release too, which is kind of cool. But yeah, definitely check this one. This one, I feel like towards the end, he does try to do a lot in this film, and I feel like at the end, it kind of, not loses steam, but like, there's one point where Daniel Day-Lewis kind of finds out a plot of what Leonardo DiCaprio's character Amsterdam is going to do, and it's like in the middle of the film, but then there's like periods before like the confrontation happens, and so I feel like there's some parts of this film that kind of slow down, and I think if there would have been some more cuts to it or whatnot, I think it would have been made a little better, and there's a scene at the end I feel like could have been, if they would have had the money and stuff for it, they could have made it a little bit better, but that's Gangs of New York. Next, he re-teams with Leonardo DiCaprio in The Aviator. And this is a 2-disc set that has the commentary, additional scenes, and a whole bunch of documentaries on Howard Hughes and filmmaking. So, again, his look at film history with someone that, was kind of a big part of early 20th century. You have him as a movie producer with, I believe, RKO, and he's an industrialist, but also looking at his OCD and his kind of mental illness, and see how that kind of shapes him, but also cracks him at the same time. So, a really interesting one. This was one of my first ones that I saw that was a Scorsese film that I realized, oh, hey, that's him. And I've always enjoyed this one. It is, like I said, it is pretty long. It's 170 minutes, and there are points that it does seem like it's a little dragging. It's almost, it's almost 3 hours there. He does have longer films, or he does have films that are around the same size, but for some reason, The Aviator seems like it drags a little bit, but again, a really good film. If you want to know about more history stuff, check this one out. Next, we go into the film that finally won him the Academy Award for Best Director, and that is The Departed, and his look at a crime film that has De Niro, Matt Damon, Jack Nicholson, and Mark Wahlberg as a mole in both the mob and in the Boston. I think it's Boston, right? Yeah, and then in the police force too. So the back and forth on that. Twists and turns in this one are really cool. There's definitely some surprises that you don't see coming and stuff. So, but very cool film. Then he goes into the kind of psychological thriller in Shutter Island. This one good. This one good one. The only thing about this one is it's kind of like one of those movies that you see it maybe twice, and then you're like, okay, and then you have to come back to it. Just because once the twist is presented, the second time you can say, okay, let me see the little breadcrumbs, and then after that, you're like, okay, I've seen it. But still a good film. Definitely check that one out. We have a few more. Next, he goes back to kind of film history, but also his first kind of kids movie, I would say. This is like a family film, and this is Hugo. And this is the film, it says, "Welcome to the magical world of spectacular adventure. When wily and resourceful Hugo discovers a secret left by his father, he unlocks a mystery and embarks on the quest that will transform those around him and lead to a safe and loving place he can call home." So this kind of goes at the turn of the century, and it talks about like George Méliès, and kind of the work that he was doing, and so it's a really, really cool movie. Definitely one that, if you want to watch with the kids, you definitely can. This is a kind of a cool release. It's just has special features: Shoot for the Moon, The Making of Hugo, The Cinemagician, George Méliès, The Mechanical Man at the Heart of Hugo, big effect, small style, and Sacha Baron Cohen, role of a lifetime. And then it comes with the DVD as well. So that is Hugo. Then we go back to the world of excess with The Wolf of Wall Street, which DiCaprio plays Jordan Belfort, who pretty much takes on the stockbroker and his rise, and of course his inevitable fall, and the hijinks and craziness. I mean, this film is nuts. The stuff that they do in this film is crazy. But again, it's access, and what people will do when they have the access, and and then the inevitable fall, and the mistakes that they make in the fall, and how they have to pay for them. So pretty awesome film. This one's, again, almost 3 hours, but this one I feel like, again, this one flies by a little more than some of the other ones, but very cool. And then the last two, we have Silence, and to go from that on the access to a more personal film, and this is the story of two Christian missionaries, Adam Driver and Andrew Garfield, who traveled to Japan in search of their missing mentor, which is played by Liam Neeson, at a time when Christianity was outlawed. When they are captured in prison, both men are plunged into an odyssey that will test their faith, challenge their sanity, and perhaps risk their very lives in a passionate, harrowing masterpiece. So again, he goes back to his themes of faith, which he does in Last Temptation of Christ, Bring Out the Dead, and then back into Silence. And like you said, it goes from a very access one to one of a smaller personal film, says Silence. And then finally, his most recent film, and like I said, probably one of my, jumping up there to one of my favorites of his, and that is The Irishman. This was the one that came out in 2019, and this came out this past year in November. And this is a really cool set by Criterion. First off, this came out both in the movie theater and on Netflix, and then Criterion was able to get the rights to the release. So this has 4K digital master, a edited roundtable discussion with Scorsese and actors Robert De Niro, Joe Pesci, Al Pacino. Making of The Irishman, a new program featuring Scorsese, the lead actors, producers, director, and let's see, Gangster's Requiem, a new video essay about the Irishman's synthesis of Scorsese's singular formal style, Anatomy of a Scene, The Irishman, a 2020 program featuring Scorsese's analysis of the Frank Sheeran Appreciation Night scene, The Evolution of Digital De-Aging, a 2019 program on the visual effects, expert interviews with Frank the Irishman Sheeran and Teamsters Trade Union leader Jimmy Hoffa from 1999 and from 1963 respectively, trailer and teaser, and then a essay as well. So like I said, this was actually the first Scorsese film I saw in theaters, but really, really cool. Like I said, it's probably my second favorite compared to Goodfellas, and definitely a nice, like I said, a nice closing chapter to kind of his crime trilogy with having to do directly with the mob. So that is The Irishman. So definitely I would recommend this one. So everyone, that is my first director spotlight. This was a pretty long video, but I have definitely a lot of Martin Scorsese films, and like I said, definitely enjoy them. Everyone is hit or miss, there's some I like way more than others, but it's someone that is a really good director to get into. So comment below, is Scorsese one of your favorite directors? What's your favorite releases of him? What's a release that maybe you want to see on Blu-ray? Do you want to see After Hours? Do you want to see Bring Out the Dead? Or is there some other ones like Goodfellas that you'd like to see a better release of? Comment below. Is there any filmmakers you'd like me to cover again? I have a few other ones. I got David Lynch, Hitchcock, Mel Brooks, Wes Anderson, Orson Welles, So I have a whole bunch of other that I can definitely do as well. So comment that below. Remember, everybody, to like, comment, and subscribe for more awesome videos. And remember, too, to check me out on Instagram at _cinema_dude. I hope everyone is doing well and just being safe. And we'll see you next week. All right? Remember, everybody, be kind and rewind. See everybody later.